All right. Welcome back. It is my legally blind journals from full vision to legal blindness. Journal number is 34 this fine day, and yeah, a couple of things wanted to kind of talk about. This first thing first is that everything costs more. Is what I'm going to say, and um, that can be frustrating. And here's what I mean by that. So when I guess, man, it's been a year now because they took away my license in February of 24. We're getting really close to that at the time of this recording. So a year ago, if I say I wanted to grab Subway, I'd popped in the truck and rode over there and got it. Now if I'm, don't have my spouse around or, she's busy, my options are either don't get that Subway or you've got to pay for a delivery service. And so everything costs more. Now, obviously, can't always pay more. So therefore, most of the time, what ends up happening is you just don't get that thing that you're wanting to do. So if you're really craving that Subway sandwich, you either have to suck it up and pay more for it than you should because now you're paying for delivery at that time, or you have to get over it and just don't get it. And that can be frustrating at times. So, and that peels into a lot of things. Recently, I had to order a lawn roller, which is basically just a drum filled with a bunch of water. Okay, it pushes down and flattens dirt. And in the past, like I was just saying, I would have jumped in the truck and run down and got it, and we were on a timeline issue, and so I needed it that day, and so it is what it is. My spouse is not comfortable with driving a trailer or anything like that, so my only option is pay for delivery. And so I did. So, this item's going to cost me an extra $50 over what it normally would have. And then this particular store doesn't, for whatever reason, we're out in the country. It's probably why. It's a big chain, but most times they have their own delivery drivers and trucks. Well, they don't here. So they hire it out to a third-party service. And that service was terrible. So I ended up spending about 3 hours on the phone chasing down this delivery that should have happened in the morning. And it finally just got to the point that the local store manager, who was awesome, got so frustrated with corporate and with third-party service and all that. He told corporate, just forget about it. We're going to figure it out. And he had one of his employees volunteered, knew that I was visually impaired, legally blind, whatever words you like to use. And the guy brought it out to me, even though it's not what they normally do, and himself. And, it was just really, really kind, and I did absolutely need it that day, which wasn't their problem. Some things had snowballed, and just some dominoes fell into a place that I wasn't expecting. A neighbor had come over and helped me do a bunch of work. And so everything accelerated, and all of a sudden, if I didn't have that, I was going to have some really major problems the next day out on the land prep. And so they were awesome. They brought it. Everything worked out. But it took me 3 hours of phone calls that when I wasn't visually impaired, when I would have jumped in the truck and took care of it, So A, I would have saved money. It would have been, less than $50. And B, I would have saved time because it wouldn't have been 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back again. And so that can be pretty frustrating. And so that's one of the things that you don't think about when you've got full visual acuity. You're not visually impaired, legally blind. You don't think about those things. And quite frankly, until I ran into them, I didn't think about them either. But that's something that I'm learning. We're starting to work on trying to get some fencing so that we can put up the new dog pen and also protect the new septic system that we're putting in, so I don't accidentally run it over. At any rate, and it didn't even cross my mind that getting wooden fence post, standard pasture post would be a problem, because I've done this for years of my entire life. I just ran down to the local hardware store and picked it up, threw it in the back of the truck, and off I went. And it didn't even cross my mind that this might be an issue, and it was. I spent 2 days trying to source the materials, and excuse me, it was rough, man. Fencing itself, to have it delivered, it took me quite a while to find a place that I could get it brought out without it costing as much as the actual material. It's crazy. And then the post, it took me those couple of days to find a place that would even deliver, period, like no matter what you would pay or not pay. And so it just wasn't a problem I've ever had before. And it's not a bridge I ever had to cross, just jump in and go. And I don't blame my spouse for not being comfortable driving a trailer. She's never driven heavy equipment or any of that, and that's okay. And the conversely, it's what I've done my entire life. I've done a lot of different things, and I've been a contractor, and I've driven big heavy stuff and dragged trailers and multiple trailers and farm equipment. So this just never crossed my mind, is that I was going to have a problem. So it's going to end up being a couple of weeks behind schedule, but it's okay. I had built in about 6 to 8 weeks of fluff, basically, because everything takes longer when you're blind. So, and that's a overgeneralization probably, but it's something that is pretty close. I mean, I got to think about, all right, well, I used to do this in a day. I need to give myself 3 because something may happen. I need to move much slower, because if I try and hurry, that's when I almost get, when I do get hurt. The other day I dropped a tiller on my foot. Don't have a freak out. It was 200 pounds, but I was wearing steel toe boots, and thank the Lord for that. In the boots, the strings, the shoestrings had broken, and I had to make a choice that morning. Just grab my regular shoes and go, and be faster, or spend all the time making new shoelaces. And if you say making, well, yeah, they're expensive to buy, and I have paracord. Paracord is free. Plus, the paracord is highly reflective, orange with silver reflection in it. And while I might look like a dork, I can see where my boots are, and people can see where my boots are. So it was the right choice. Also, that hour I spent making shoelaces, getting them just right, and all that crap. Well, guess what? Fast forward a couple hours later in the day, I misjudged something and dropped a 200-pound tiller, and it landed on the steel toe boot, and it was on the steel toe. Thank the Lord for that, because had I grabbed my regular shoes, I'd have done it faster and probably broke all my toes or whatever's. So you got to slow down a little bit. You got to think things through a little more, which takes a little more time, a little more planning when you're doing these, this stuff. And so I'd built in time, thank the Lord. And so it's going to work out. I'd be lying to say there's not frustration in having to wait and having to order and, having to pay for the delivery of stuff that I just have never had to. And, it's not a want anymore. It's a need. So, I'll get through that. But it's been definitely a little frustrating. The other thing I was going to talk about this morning was really quickly here. You know what? I'll save that. I'll save that for the next one. So, at any rate, that's kind of where we're at. Things are moving along, getting moved into the new property. That will give me back a a ton of independence and freedom, and get me out of my spouse's hair, so that she doesn't have to cart me around near as much, which I'm happy for. I hate to be such a burden on her. So until next time, y'all be good out there. Peace.